How's it going, Beepner? How's it going, Raven? I hope y'all are doing well. How's it going, Cappy? Okay, you know Alice in Wonderland? Do you know the story of Alice in Wonderland? Cappy, do you know that? I'm sure you're familiar with Alice in Wonderland. I bet they teach that in law school. It's that, except we found that we've got to put the Red Queen back together because she's been dismembered. So we've been running all over Wonderland trying to find her various body parts. And then we killed Cheshire Cat last night. Just pretty callously too, might I add. It was pretty rad, honestly. Not gonna lie, it slapped pretty hard. It's like Castlevania 2, basically. Yeah. So, like, something I didn't notice I didn't notice until, like, after stream last night. And it's just something that I had kind of overlooked when we started playing the game, was I noticed this. This is Cheshire Cat's arm. This is her right arm, specifically. And I thought that this was just, like, a cool tattoo or just, like, a really cool armband, because it's, like, it's very uniform. It looks like it, repeats. It's not really super jagged or anything, but it's actually just, that's the Queen's arm. And she attached it somehow. So I didn't notice that. Like, it didn't read to me. It didn't read to me as an arm that had been attached. I just thought it was like a cool accessory, just because, like, Cheshire Cat's design seems a lot more minimal than everybody else's. So I just thought that was like a cool armband or something. Did anybody else pick up on this? Am I the only idiot that just didn't get it? Is that it? Is that what's happening? Is that I'm the idiot that didn't notice that was like, scarring from her attaching the Queen's arm? You thought it was just a normal scar? Okay, yeah. Okay, well, it just didn't read as a scar for me for some reason. I think maybe if it would have been maybe a lighter pinkish color, kind of like a normal scar might be against her light skin tone, I might have read it more as like a scar. Yeah, after the fact that she wears a cloak over one shoulder, but yeah. Scar tissue that I wish you saw. Sarcastic Mr. Know-It-All. Lippy dong, ding dong ding, cuz California. Yo, it's Jetstorm. How you doing? We're looking at an arm. Do you like arms? I'm big into arms. I think arms are okay. I'm one of those people that thinks, yeah, you know what? I like a good arm. I would link arms with somebody. How's it going? Millie, so many people. Look at all the friends coming by. I was just pointing out a dumb observation. That I did not notice until after stream last night, that this arm is the Queen's arm that we've been looking for, and that we pulled it off of poor Cheshire Cat after beating her ass Mortal Kombat 2 style. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope y'all are doing well. We got Jetstorm, we got Beepner, Millie, Raven, Cappy. There's so many friends. You got your tooth drilled? Oh no! That's never fun. Actually, I never really got pain from having my teeth drilled. So maybe I'm the weirdo that just I never really got dental pain, even when I got my I had a bunch of extractions done once and never really felt it. The worst part for me was the numbing. I hated that more than anything. I could deal with just getting a tooth pulled. This week is fucking over, so you're glad. Sounded like somebody did not have a first good week of the year of our Lord Haruhi Suzumiya 2024. Well, we're here to help make that better, Millie. More just annoying because it messed up your mouth feel. Yeah, I know that. I know how that feels, trust me. As somebody who wears a denture, trust me, I know all about having your mouth feel get screwed up. And having to adapt to that, it kind of sucks. But, all right. Who's ready to dive back into Wonderland? We have got so many pieces of the Red Queen now, and maybe we're finally going to get her all put back together before the end of the stream. We've gone about an hour the last couple nights, but since we're cruising into the weekend, I'm okay with going a little longer. Your body is ready to have limbs attached. All right, well, let's dive back in. All right. Here we go. Do I sound good? Does the game sound good? Just making sure. I've not changed anything, but sometimes I know this stuff gets weird between streams. You ready to have no idea what's happening? It's just Alice in Wonderland, but kind of darker. Limbus Company. Like, I'm sure you will figure it out. Like, we're trying to reassemble the Red Queen. The Mad Hatter, for some reason, had her torso, and we're seeking out her limbs and head. Alrighty. The Red Queen was nearly assembled, missing only her head and fourth limb. Onward I continued with my search so that she could send me home. I took out the invitation that the White Rabbit had delivered to me. Running my fingers against the paper of the envelope and the imprint on the wax seal, some sort of animal, I tore the invitation open. Inside I found a card and read it to myself. Alice, the Duchess requests the honor of your presence at her ball. Today, tomorrow, time eternal. The Duchess's estate, the manor. You are required to bring a companion. Flipping the card over, I noticed something of a crudely drawn map. I followed the lines on the map and somehow pinpointed where I was in relation to the manor. I had nothing to bring to the party, nor did I have a readily available guest. Yes, we are seeking head. I am always seeking head. I am also always seeking to offer head, so same difference. Was that too lowbrow for an Alice in Wonderland Let's Play? Is that too lowbrow? Is that too much? Did I go too far? Should I not have done that? I pondered about whether I should go or not, seeing as that I could put it off indefinitely, but with the Red Queen's parts still missing, perhaps someone there would know. A duchess should have been close to the Queen, for example. You think it's okay? You've seen Alice in Wonderland Expanded Universe? All right. Then at least the tutors had mentioned. As for the plus one, my mind wandered to my few human acquaintances in Wonderland, and I want to take the Hatter, because I want to find out more about Hatter. Like, Hatter is absolutely the character that I am, like, the most kind of invested in right now. Like, White Queen obviously has something going on, but I'm so much more interested in Hatter. I returned to the Hatter, who was having her usual tea time, and invited her. Hatter, you don't even know her! I am mad for the Hatter. Hatter, would you accompany me to the ball? I rather won't. Alice, did you have a request in that way? Wait, who's reading this? I'll trade you a favor for a favor. If you'll come to the ball with me, I can do something for you. Take some pity, Alice has no friends. No friends, no pets, no siblings. No one, none. Do favors for favor like butter. Do favors have flavor like butter? I would say I have at least one of the above. What sort of favor would you offer me, Alice? A limb, a tongue, well, I think we may have figured this out, Miss Hatter. I think we got it sorted. If you need a tongue, don't you worry. Old Polly's got you covered. I do kind of like how this Hatter has a weird perception of time. That part of the Mad Tea Party is often dropped in many adaptations. Yeah. What sort of favor would you offer me, Alice? A limb, a tongue, a heart? Alice, you don't have anything that I want that I can't get myself. A cuppa for your sandwich, Alice? Here's the salt. I passed her the pepper as she slid the salt and a cup of tea over to me. Fiddling with the salt container, I tasted a spoonful of humiliation atop my tongue. I have no friends. She says she has no friends. She really has no friends. You have no friends? What am I? March's favorite old butter sticks? That's a mouthful. Well, if you would, She says it! I would really rather not. A hatter doesn't matter around the nobles, just like the flatter. I'm no good with nobles after all. I'm just a hatter. For a second, her voice dipped. Hatter is better off here, all alone. I barely heard the hatter's low words. And it's also tea time. How could we go off to a ball when we've yet to finish afternoon tea? She stirred her tea, watching as I slumped into my seat and played with the salt. But I rather appreciate you. My heart skipped a beat. Why, Alice, just why did you find that slight smile somewhat charming? Oh, oh my, are we having an awakening? Clink. The sound of my teaspoon hitting against the rim of my cup broke me out of my thoughts. I looked down. Putting the cup to my mouth, I took a sip and found that I had put salt in my tea. Absolutely terrible. A gay-kening. I'll accompany you, Alice. When is this ball? Anytime. It's not very nice of you to say that it's not tea time here, then. Not very good of you to be biased against tea time, don't you know? We finished off our tea and sandwiches. After a few more sips, I sneakily dumped the salted tea behind my armchair. The hatter put the dormouse and March Hare away. Better than putting salt in your eyes. Stop being tea-sist! After lingering at the tea table for a few moments longer, we got up to leave. She waved goodbye to the puppets, hesitant, as if scared of leaving this place. Then we used the shoddy map on the back of the invitation card to find our way to the Duchess's place. After a walk, we arrived at the manor. The hatter shook her legs as if that bit of walking had tired her out. Then again, the bags under her eyes conveyed that she hadn't slept well for a while. A guard stopped us in front of the entrance. Halt! Please show your invitation card. I handed the guard the card. He looked it over, glancing at me and the hatter before returning it to me. The guard gestured and led us inward a few steps through the entryway. To enter, guests must provide an arm. The arm will be returned to you whenever you wish to leave the party. And puppets are just analog VTuber. Yeah, pretty much. An arm. A limb? The guard nodded. Please provide me an arm. Uncharacteristically, the hatter said nothing the entire time to the guard. She warily looked at his sheathed sword and shuffled behind me. You may not enter without providing an arm. What if we offer the Red Queen's arm? What if we give away our whole, I feel like we're pretty much just saying, all right, I'm just gonna lop off my arm. This sounds like a real good idea. Mark Wiener of Wienerville was a VTuber. You want us to offer our arm in marriage? I'll only do that for Hatter. There's got to be at least one VTuber who emulates Max. Right? That's gotta be a thing. They've gotta be doing, the same deal. We will offer the Red Queen's arm. I crossed my arms and tapped my feet on the ground. I tapped my feet at the guard, repeated his blocking words with a handful of times more. While the thought of offering my own limb came up, I decided against it. As such, we needed to find another arm to give. While I'm loath to suggest this, we do have a spare arm back at the tea table. Her Majesty surely wouldn't mind, don't you think? Yes, indeed. She had no tongue to speak otherwise. That would be a neat origin lore. A streamer accidentally uploaded their personality. My lore is that I got stuck in the internet somehow, so it kind of is the same, in a way. With that, we made the trip back to the Hatter's place. The Hatter hopped over to the dog cage we had set by the Red Queen. Popping it open, she pulled out a severed arm and quickly slammed the door shut. The limb flailed in the Hatter's hands until she unceremoniously tossed it to me. With 21 guns later, 10, your arms give up. This was the Red Queen's arm. I never quite thought that I would accompany Her Majesty to a ball. It gives me shivers. To me, it felt so obvious that this was the Red Queen's arm. I wonder if someone will recognize the arm. We certainly would be in a good deal of trouble. And I would prefer not to have the trouble of getting the arm back if someone tries to take it away. They won't. They won't with Wonderland. They wouldn't want to recognize it anyhow. I've been here for a while, but still this logic fascinates me. Wonderland. We took a tea break. According to the Hatter, it was still tea time after all. Shall we go on to the ball, milady? Although I'm afraid I've got no pumpkin carriage nor glass slippers for you. You're charming enough as is. Lead the way, Alice. Are we romancing Hatter? I want us to be romancing Hatter. That's what I want. Oh no, it's a VTuber! What are those? How's it going, Dr. Doobly? Complete with 2 different colored eyes. Flatter the Hatter. The Mad Hatter's got the best design in the game. Alice's design is pretty cute too, but we don't really see her on anything other than like one CG in the title screen. Arm in hand, we returned to the Duchess's manor. The guard greeted us with the same phrases, asking for an arm as the entrance fee, to which we responded by handing over the arm which we had retrieved. He glanced at both of us, noting that neither of us were missing a limb. The guard handed it off to a servant who put it into a sealed box and took it away for safekeeping nonetheless. No flats. A flatter cap. You may enter, esteemed guests. We arrived at the Duchess's ballroom. Although the hostess was nowhere to be found, servants milled around the floor with refreshments for the guests. A quartet performed in front. Food sat on the tables to the sides of the room. All around were faceless people dressed like clowns. These are kind of cool designs, honestly. I'm kind of liking like the nameless characters, the nameless masqueraders. I'm really digging their designs. They're really nice. Faceless people. They were uninteresting people. They sent a few glances our way as we came without much fanfare. Already, I didn't like them. Perhaps it was their beady pig-like eyes. For all that they were faceless, I saw only clowns and swine. I approached a group, thinking to gain some information. Hello. Hello to you as well. The guests seemed wary upon seeing me, but showed a displeased reaction upon laying eyes on the Hatter, who had reluctantly followed me along. And the peasants. Which one was it? Ah, the one with the vermin. Where are your little raggedy friends? The rat and the hare. I don't like this. Are we gonna look? Alice has already shown that she knows how to punch a bitch. I am all about like jumping in and going bad on anybody that's trying to hurt our Hatter's feelings. When the baby in the bassinet turns a pig horrified you as a cat. Oh yeah. I'm ready to take a tire iron to these chumps. Don't go after my Hatter. The rabbit's always been like that. Rather than the rutting, she likes the cutting. Ugh, an animal in such a position. I really do not approve. Her Majesty likes it. Well, she's gone now. You shouldn't say that. Speak of the devil and she will come. The devil indeed. 'Tis a shame that the White Queen's always been a fool. a pretty bird, but as a ruler, the Red Queen liked her well enough, and certainly from the rumors, she's done something quite pleasant. The appropriate tool for the upper crust is the guillotine. For us, you mean? Don't jinx it. The group stage whispered amongst themselves as they pointed to the Hatter like they were looking at a spectacle. The Hatter at the time was simply staring off into space. Is that lunatic glaring at us? This is the problem with peasants. It's staring at us. My, how uncomfortable. I can't believe the thing rolls around with the animals. Tut tut, the animals are all gone. That's the least of her that's the least that Her Majesty has done for us in her petty red reign of petty red rain. Now let's get away from the filth. The stench of vermin is unbearable. I must ask the Duchess about who can be let into her ballroom. A servant passed by with a tray full of champagne. One of the guests removed 2 flutes from the tray and offered me one with a slur in her words. Have some alcohol. Did you have some business with us? No. I shook my head and turned away. Drinks should be shared only in pleasant company. Let's take our leave from these people, Hatter. Chitter chatter, chitter chatter. I noticed the other guests making snide comments on the Hatter and giving her side eye while stepping back from me, of all people. That kind of slur. You thought she was about to go full gamer mode. This game has said fuck a couple of times, but so far no gamer words. Mocking upper class mannerisms is a very vain of original work, although I'm not sure the significance of alcohol. Saying those things to my person, someone who was mine, my Hatter, they deserved punishment, capital or otherwise. That was right, Alice. What a shame that I had no such power. We moved to the sides where the food was, seeing as few people lingered by refreshments for long. The 2 of us picked up some cakes and snacks. As I tasted it, I couldn't help but feel that the Hatter made better food. A tingly sensation spread through my body as I ate. Hatter, what is this? My voice changed pitches as I talked, and one moment I sounded squeaky as a mouse, and at the next as low as an elephant. Oh no, me too! Playing with the odd refreshments, we found ourselves speaking like animals. Meow. Woof. Meow, meow. Woof, woof, woof. I wondered what she said. She looked so pleased, as if she had made the world's greatest joke that had just gone unheard. Next, we tried the pudding. Discomfort filled my heart, as if something dirty was coming out of each pulse, with each squeeze of the ventricle pushing blood through the aorta. I hate this. I hate you. Huh? I don't know how I deal with a bedlamite dog like you. I really, really, really hate you. It's Red. It's Red. It's Red's fault. I'll kill. They're dead, dead, dead. So I'm alone. The Hatter blocked her words and stuffed a cookie into her mouth. Oh! What needs to be done has to be done, but what's done, we should certainly purge. It's been such a long time. I've got to punish this little bird. No, we avoided killing the bird. I specifically said, don't kill the bird. And your head will make a good decoration. There's not a worthy cell inside. You're a lunatic and a fool. Putting a hand over my mouth and clenching my jaw, I shut up as well, till the distortion in my heart disappeared. I didn't mean to say any of that. The pudding must have twisted our words. I as well. Had it, Alice? As we experienced the strange food, the other guests continued to mingle and dance. This was a ball, so ball things they did. the music stopped, along with the chatter. You ever just do ball things? Shout out to chat. Chat, are you doing ball things? Hey kids, squeeze your balls, tease your balls, and please your balls. Hey kids, please your balls, so you don't get cancer. You're always down for ball things? Love them balls! It was at this time that the Duchess made her appearance. She was a featureless woman who hid her face. Instinct told me that she was ugly, yet I could not see anything, not disfigurement nor beauty. She existed as a duchess, but could not be seen. She was only perceived. Don't perceive me! Tonight we have a special gift to be given to a single guest. She gestured, and a servant behind her came up with an item hidden under the red cloth. A hushed whispering ran through the ballroom as everyone guessed at what could be hidden underneath that would make the Duchess consider it special. We were holding a chess tournament, the usual game that ends when the king has fallen, even here where the king has long gone. Of course, the winner will receive the prize. The servant removed the cloth. All around, the guests let out a collective gasp. What, you may ask? Why? It could only be our dearest Majesty's leg. Yeah, them's good shoes. She got good shoes. There was a severed leg. The Red Queen's left leg. From the looks of the limb, it could fit perfectly onto the torso stump sitting at the Hatter's place. May the best strategist win. The Duchess clapped. The servants began to move about, setting up tables and chess sets in a matter of minutes. With the matchup list created, the tournament started. As I made my moves with Hatter, I thought back to all the chess I had played for the tutors. They would be relieved that at least I hadn't forgotten anything and everything. Losing each time had been a painful ordeal, so I too was glad that I remembered. The animations they do on things are really good. Like they're really small, but like just the little amount, like the little things they do, like with scaling the character back up and bouncing it up and down to give the impression that they're like walking up toward you. The Hatter had a brilliant strategic mind. I watched as she flung her queen into a crowd of pawns, only for it to be eaten alive. Most of the time. We made our way to the finals, where we met with the last opponent, not at a table, but in a cleared out space in the ballroom with a large chessboard overlaid. The last opponent was the Duchess. Around her lined up stood 1 1/3 dozen soldiers dressed up in black like chess pieces. What is this? Why, human chess. Chess is an imitation of bloody war. In this land without war, we must take steps to make life more interesting. That is what our dearest Majesty proclaimed. One of you two have to take the role of a piece, and otherwise I will provide the other pieces for you to play with. I exchanged glances with the Hatter. Even now, I couldn't understand what went on in those eyes, but I had already decided. Maybe I didn't want to see her potentially get hurt, as no one here cared for the life of the Hatter. Oddest otter. What a thought to have. I rather liked her. I will take the role of a piece. I'll be the... Well, I mean, I feel like... What are we gonna be, chat? King or queen? Yeah, like, either way is not good! Go with the king? Alright. What could possibly go wrong? I chose to take the king piece's role, for the king was the end of the game. While I was given a fake white crown and a sword, I was not a soldier. Our white pieces shuffled in and took their positions on the board. Soon enough, the chessboard was set. A human-sized version of the strategy game unfolded. The Hatter started with the first move. Clang, clash, one by one, our white pieces on the board fell, almost like dominoes. Perhaps don't deploy the queen? No, a piece on the board cannot speak. We are the players, and you are but a game piece. Pieces came dangerously close to me. The sound of metal filled my ears. Warm blood splattered over my face as an overzealous knight beheaded our last bishop. Then guts spilled all over my shoes when the Hatter took out the knight who had cornered me. I've never been much for strategy. The Hatter yawned and rubbed her eyes. All of our pieces had died, taken off the board with but a smear of the ground aside from the pawns, whereas the Duchess had far fewer losses. I had a feeling that we were doomed. Alas, what can we do? No speaking. The game continued, and by mad luck, the Hatter made her way to the other side of the board. Promote it! Promote it! Let the pawn turn into a queen. That's how it works, isn't it? I watched as the Hatter turned the game around with her remaining ex-pawns. The Black King was surrounded. Checkmate, Duchess! Then we cut him down. The Duchess clapped her hands in congratulations. The servants cleared the floor, wiping it down. They made it once more sparkly clean, as if red had not just been spilled in a human facsimile of a game. One came along with a wet towel for me to wipe away anything that had gotten on me during the match. Congratulations, you are a true pair of master strategists. With this, the competition had concluded, and you two are the winners. Would you like to take your prize now? Yes. The Hatter bubbled her head up. The Hatter bobbed her head up and down rapidly. The Duchess gestured a servant over. Our dearest Majesty's leg, do take care of it well, lest she comes back and has you punished for disrespecting the crown. This game wanted me to love Hattie more. Yeah, Mad Hatter has been, she's definitely been the highlight, I think. I hope you enjoy the rest of the ball and your leg. The Duchess left again with her servant following after her. She seemed to have enjoyed the chess tournament. Just as quickly as she left, the chess setups were cleared away. The guests returned to eating, drinking, and dancing. Let's leave. She had no intention to stay, neither had I, having accomplished the unexpected boon of finding a piece of the Red Queen. We found a servant to leave. We found a servant to leave and were redirected outward. He retrieved the sealed box with our entrance fee and handed it over. We exited the building and came to a garden. We had taken a wrong turn. Looking around, we spotted an exit at the far end of the garden, and the Hatter made a move to leave. I called out to stop her, extending my hand. We didn't have a chance to dance. Won't you give me the honor of one dance? Yes! Yes! I like that Alice is just all in now. She's like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm totally into this girl now. I found her admittedly quite odd from the start, but now, I don't know, kind of here for it? I won't. Aww. Maybe just one with you, Alice. Yeah! I can't dance. I'm dexterous with my hands, but not so much my feet. Hatter doesn't fit well with these things. Isn't that a problem? She hesitantly stretched out her hand, fingers hovering over mine. Don't worry, let me lead. I took her hand and we danced, humming in place of an instrumental quartet. I led her in steady steps, ignoring the way she stumbled over my feet. Left, right, left, right. Perhaps this was the most enjoyable dance I'd had yet. Aww. I twirled the Hatter around. She was so light. Alice? Alice? Hatter? You might not be so bad after all. She made an expression like she wanted to cry. I rather like you, Alice. Only Alice. I rather liked her too. I gave her another twirl and let go. I reached out my fingers, but she moved her hand away. The Hatter hopped back with a skip and a spin. Thus, she stood by her lonesome. Oh! I mean, she let us dance with her, so I think that, like, you know, she's kind of let us in. She kind of got her touch quota. Give us kiss time, give us kiss time. Come on, I want kiss time. I did as she said. I felt her roughly stuff the leg into my arms. I heard a faint tapping noise reminiscent of footsteps moving away from me, and then there... Oh, hey! I waited and waited and waited. Alice, how long did you want to wait for her? I had waited a long time, clutching the leg in my hands. When I opened my eyes, the Hatter was now nowhere to be seen. Did she leave me behind? Although I walked around the garden, she was nowhere to be found. I decided to leave as well. Taking one last pass through the garden, I made my way through the exit. A sudden vertigo struck me. I must have had a long day, I reasoned as I held a hand to my forehead while trying to steady myself. My brain spun like a sloshed up pit of mud. The discomfort in my heart returned. I leaned back against a tree to take a break. Looking upward, eyelids flickering, I wondered if the sky had always looked so far away. My free hand, propped against the bark, slid downward unconsciously. Oh. I closed my eyes for a moment. Darkness. Hey! Hi. We thought we were gonna get a kiss. I'm kind of disappointed, not gonna lie, Miss Hatter. That was a pretty mean trick. But I get it. You're not so keen on touchy, but you did dance with us, so I guess we can take that. We take what we get. At some point, I made my way back to the Hatter's place. Hello, Hatter. I handed over the limb I had just obtained. At least, from what I could tell from the passage of time, it should have been only recently that I had taken this limb from the past owner. I didn't know. The Hatter took the limb and threw it into the dog cage with all the others. With this, you've gathered all of Her Majesty's limbs. Oh, so I have. You look terrible right now, Alice. Again. Like us. I'm tired. Take a nap. Tea time isn't going anywhere. Not unless time grows back its severed head and walks away, don't you think? We can always talk a little later. Thank you. I slumped back into my armchair, sinking into the oddly scented cushions. Good night, Alice. That's ominous. I almost feel a little sorry, but Dormouse March, I won't stop. I didn't hear what the Hatter said afterward over the raging white noise of my headache, my vision blurred, eyes becoming watery, eyelids heavy. I feel asleep. Yeah, finally now we can fix her limbic system. Then I was dreaming, falling into the dream. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I dreamt of a throne. A dark and terrible throne, so horribly cold. It was such a lonely throne, but the eye on the throne was arrogant and happy to be alone. No, I thought even she had someone she loved. A beautiful person. Yes, that person she loved was a beautiful person, so fragile and beautiful that she wanted to slowly tear off that person's wings. But her love was wrong. If she wasn't happy, then she would lose everything. Alice, you were exactly this person. No, I wasn't. Was I? Hey, Garden! How's it going? Yeah, we're still vibing. We got to dance with Hatter. We thought she was. We know that Alice is kind of a really big horned up for Hatter now. Like, Hatter even danced with us. We had a dance at the ball. We went to the Duchess's ball and we got a dance with the Hatter. It was great. Pork roast in the oven. Oh my God. I want some pork roast. Good Lord. I was lazy today, man. I was just like, I don't know. I'm throwing some lunch meat on some sandwiches and calling it a day. You got a way of making me crave meat again. Things you will only hear said in a polystream. As I opened my mouth to speak, blood began to leak through my lips. The only sound that came out was an empty gurgle. Were you happy? No. I would not talk. I could not taste. Even though red dripped down my chin, I felt as if my tongue had been snipped out. Blood choked me. Gasping in nothing but liquid, I grasped at my throat. Alice, I was drowning in this dream. You were never happy. Never. When I awoke, I forgot all that I dreamt of. I opened my eyes to an empty feeling in my mind. Disoriented, I nearly rolled off of my armchair in which I had gone to sleep. I sat up and stifled a yawn, rubbing the bridge of my nose. I blinked. I blinked again, chasing away a haze. I felt as if I had forgotten something very important. In the meanwhile, the Hatter brought over a decorated cake, much more elaborate than the usual snacks at her eternal tea time. It was a cake with cream and fruits, 2-layered even, with flowers and pictures carved up in the food with the food ingredients. I could only call it a pretty cake. Just in time for tea, Alice. As I got up from my armchair, the Hatter lightly pushed me back down. My behind landed on the cushion with a soft bounce. It seemed that I could not but sit. She stared at me before sticking a handful of candles into the cake, lighting them with a match. Flick the flame glowed on the head of the match for just a few seconds. After setting the candles, she began clapping her hands to an unsteady rhythm. Happy unbirthday to you. I don't know, that sounds ominous too. Shawty made that booty bounce. Happy unbirthday! Happy unbirthday to you! Happy unbirthday! Dear Alice, a terribly offbeat, off-balance song she sang, and her voice warped as she said my name today. A certain darkness flickered in her mismatched eyes. Happy unbirthday to you. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand. I simply watched as she finished the song with a small clap and pushed the cake a bit closer to me. No unbirthing, por favor. Can't believe Lewis Carroll was on DeviantArt. Unbirth is the worst Binding of Isaac sequel. Oh God, yeah, definitely. I can see that being like a Binding of Isaac thing now that I think about it. Who the fuck's messaging me on Discord? The fuck? Hello? What do you want? Okay. No? Okie doke. That's fine. Sorry about that. Had a message. I simply watched as she finished the song with a small clap and pushed the cake a bit closer to me. What is this for, Hatter? Certainly, today was not my birthday. Didn't I tell you? Don't you remember? You get a special prize for bringing me all 4 limbs, Alice. Since it's not your birthday, it must be your unbirthday. All 364 days of the year. Picking up a knife, she cut out a slice of cake and slid it over to me. I caught it in a hurry, and soon enough, she poured me a cup of tea. That too came rushing over. Truck off, I'm V-tubing! Can't we just mail in Bog Top? I would think an unbirthday would be the day you died. Yeah, it feels like that's kind of the, you know, the point in which your birthday is quite literally taken away. I noticed a hammer on the table right next to the cake knife. That's okay. You know, we've had a real bad experience with a hammer earlier in the story, but that's just because I looked in a box. She gestured, urging me to have a taste. The calming scent of the tea wafted to my nose and mixed with sweet milky cream. The celebratory cake sliced looked so charming, it almost felt like a shame to eat it. I picked up the cup of tea and took a sip. This is my favorite. After enjoying some tea, I started on the cake. As I ate, the Hatter placed a box before me. Open your present, Alice. Chop it open. Smash it open. Any way you would like to. Oh boy, it's box time. What's in the box? What's in the fucking box? I surveyed the box, an odd and plain box, just big enough to store an animal. From the outside, I could not tell what might lie inside. Remember this box from Higurashi? I cracked open a small gap, afraid to disturb what could be hidden inside. Shadows blocked my vision. I saw nothing, but I heard a low gurgling, drowning sound, a strange and strangled voice, one that sent a chill rolling down my neck. Throbbing headache hit me again. Oh no, I hate it when throbbing headache hits me. He's kind of a jerk like that, though. In one go, I flung the lid off. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, that's not good at all. Because I'm pretty sure that's very much our head. Inside was a head. A bloodied head. Huh? A head. A woman's head. A girl's head. A head that should have been dead. A much too familiar face. A much too foreign face. I didn't quite understand what I was looking at, even as the world seemed to shift around me. Alice, you knew who that face belonged to. Alice! Whose head is this? I stumbled to my feet to back away, only to fall back into the armchair from my loss of equilibrium. That wasn't right. Yeah, it's kind of a cube. It does kind of look like a textured cube in a way. Are we just doing corpse party, or did Mad Hatter just do a deep fake? This wasn't right. The face looked just like mine. Just almost. I clutched my neck and touched my face to make sure that I was still here. This was the Red Queen. This was Alice. Yeah, Mad Hatter is just part of the human removal service. This was a severed head, Alice. Whose head is this? I wanted to ask, but instead a strangled cry escaped my throat. I couldn't move my eyes away from the so-called prize that the Hatter had given me. Also, this music is going real fucking hard. Holy shit. This music do be really good. Blood pooled at the bottom of the box, sticky and dark. How terrible! I reached a trembling hand to touch it, but it wasn't my place to try and close her eyes or put her to peace. The head was still moving, twisting with a squelch and a squish. Its wet, ragged sounds of raspy breathing echoed in my skull. I jerked my hand back and covered my ears. I couldn't look away. Now aren't you glad you didn't find Her Majesty's head? As if laughing at me, as if she didn't truly mean that, with an odd tilt of her voice as she spoke of the Red Queen, the Hatter confirmed the head's owner. Anyway, we're gonna turn around and Hatter will be there with an axe. She'll kill us and we'll yeah, there, back to the flow chart. She walked over to the Red Queen, flinging the dog cage open, and popped the limbs onto the torso one by one. As they reattached, they began to flail and grab at the Hatter. This time, she was prepared and grabbed her hammer. Hatter? No, I think she's about to turn into Hitter. With a pair of loud bangs, she hammered nails through the corpse's hands and the Red Queen's chair. Ow! Red dripped to the ground. The hands twitched, the body writhed. A ghostly pain ran up my arms, my stomach churned. I felt dizzy. What? Hatter? I discovered that I had nothing to say. Even though I always had thoughts racing through my mind, I had nothing to say. Alice, that was why you were worthless. Ask something. Anything. I touched my face to see if my lips had curled up without me thinking to. Didn't you want to leave this place? Now you've found the Red Queen. If you have something you'd like to talk with her about, I'll let you take care of that before I proceed with my own business. She pushed the Red Queen over, chair scraping the ground with a hideous squeal, and stopped only when I sat face to face with the headless, shifting body. Taking the head out of the box, the Hatter put it onto the body. Oh, this is gonna be lovely. The skin and meat deformed, contorting till the pieces of neck met exactly where they should. Then it all knitted together with something unnatural crawling under the skin. I shuddered at the hollow sound made from the corpse as her throat connected. The Red Queen looked at me with dead red eyes. I didn't know what she went through, but she looked terrible. I realized that I hadn't ever asked who killed her like this, nor had I ever stumbled upon an answer the same way I had found all the limbs. This was the Red Queen. Alice. This was me. The requests I had been pondering on, the wishes to go back home, the want to ask her for help, they all flew out of my mind, because this wasn't right. The face I was looking at, battered and bloodied as it appeared, was not right. I couldn't speak, but she did. Mouthing words yet making no sound besides the hollow whistle of a crushed throat, the Red Queen began to talk without saying a thing. Oh, fuck. Oh, I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna do it! I'm gonna do it! I grabbed the cake knife from the other side of the table. I know. Without hesitation, I thrust the knife into my mouth. I began to cut, ignoring how the meat choked my airway and blood pulled up and dripped out from between my lips. Yeah, it's the most rational play. We could have just, asked a simple question. I chose the more extreme method. Oh, God. Okay, hold on. We'll get there. We'll get there. I sawed back and forth with a slightly serrated knife, much too dull, tearing through my tongue. I cut and ripped and sawed until it was done. Connected by one little string of flesh, the tongue, I ripped it off by force. I didn't want to swallow the piece of meat lingering in my mouth. Coughing and choking, I brought a hand up to my lips and blood spilled out past my fingers. The knife chattered to the ground. My head hurt more than my mouth, temples throbbing. Alice belonged to the Red Queen. I spit the bloody lump of tongue into my hands and gave it to the Red Queen with shaking hands that doubled and then tripled in my contorting vision. She seemed to swallow it. Great! I heard a crunch from inside her mouth, a disgusting sound. Alice! Alice! She smiled, and I mirrored with a shaky smile. What a time for madness! With her hands still nailed to the chairs, she shifted, crossing her legs as if to make herself a tad more comfortable while she laughed silently at me. I heard the Hatter call out, but only the Red Queen's voice reached my ears. Red, red, red wouldn't stop flowing from my mouth, dribbling past my lips, pouring down my throat in a viscous metallic flow. One step beyond. Jesus Christ. How have you enjoyed my domain? Everything was spinning. I sputtered out a wordless response as I grew lightheaded, drowning in my own blood. The red was spilling all over my armchair. No, I certainly have to clean up all the vermin that gathered when I was gone, and all the thoughts that mine should never have had. She lifted her hands and tore out the nails lodged through her flesh. Quickly, the skin and muscle knitted together, leaving but a faint pinkish color on her skin. Picking up the nails, she threw them like darts towards the Hatter. Although I couldn't look towards the Hatter, I heard an ugly piercing sound. For example, my little white bird. The Red Queen gave me a hand of applause. Alice, your job is done. Well done, myself from another world. This is the best that you have accomplished with your life. You have my commendation. I couldn't breathe. Each time I gasped and wheezed, only liquid flowed down my airway. Red, 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 painted my lungs red. I slumped over, trying to hold myself up, even as I continued to bleed so much red that I couldn't bleed any further. Breathe so much red that I couldn't breathe any further. This was it for Alice. Thump. Oh! That was rough. That one was rough. Oh, boy. Did that, like, knife tongue thing, was that weird and uncomfortable for anybody else? That was fun and normal. Yeah, you're not wrong. All right. I've only seen 48% of the script. Interesting noises were heard. Good Lord. We've only seen 48% of the script. So, do we go back here? Or do we go back to, like... Hold on. Load. Do we go back to, like... the ball and choose like a different piece, or should we just go here? Let's not cut out the tongue. Okay. Can't believe graphic dismemberment showed up in my Alice horror. Right? Who'd have thunk? Who could have saw that coming? All right. I tried to find my own tongue, stumbling with a pulsing pressure in the back of my head before I could articulate my next inquiry. Thought this was a dating game? I thought we were gonna have like a cute little romance with Hatter or something. Get us the notary game flowchart. Hatter, where is the Red Queen's tongue? I didn't want to hear her voice, so I tore it out and fed it to the dogs. The Red Queen wasn't complete without a tongue. Although she squirmed in the chair, causing the nails to creak, it seemed like she didn't truly have her soul. Alice, you were so close. The corpse looked upon us with stagnant eyes. That should mean I needn't bother searching for it then. What were your intentions, Hatter? Am I the Red Queen? At this point, I still knew nothing about the Red Queen, but that she shared my face and of the various gossips I'd overheard of the ruler. Alice! Looking at the Hatter's mismatched eyes, I could see what she thought for the first time. What do you think? Let me tell you a story, Your Majesty. So I was Your Majesty now. Are we the bodies? Like, I don't think that we're the Red Queen. Like the Red Queen said, we are her from another world, meaning that, like, we are just her opposite somewhere else. In the real world where Alice actually comes from. It's still, like, and it's clear that we were probably brought here by the Red Queen somehow. She got us to come here. So I was Your Majesty now. A long time ago, in this corner of Wonderland, there lived a group of 3 friends, a mouse, a hare, and a hatter. We lived far away from bustling society, usually just coming together for tea. I made hats, and they did mouse and hare things. Once we had been dragged to perform like clowns for visitors of this kingdom, but only that once, for Her Majesty hadn't quite appreciated our lack of skill. Her Majesty ran the court of law, a strict queen. Some called her a mad queen. Some whispered, a tyrant. Most could not even dare to say. I think this story should be predictable, don't you? We were called into court one day. The reason? Maybe only to be judged. She proclaimed us guilty and had us sentenced. I, for no reason, received the lightest sentence of the day. I came away with my neck still intact, not knowing a thing. Thrown into prison and starved, only just that much. When I came out, the streets were filled with the newly spilled blood of 2 very familiar heads rolled my way. Yeah. You're not wrong. We have answered the Game Central question to some degree. We know who the Red Queen is now! Yeah, she made puppets because they were real. They were her real friends, and she made puppets. Crows feasted on carrion only for even them to be swept away by the Queen's cards. Do I need to explain further? Perhaps you really are blind and deaf. Dormouse and March Hare are dead. For what? For the sole crime of offending our world's tyrant. And so Hatter has been all alone for a long, long, long time. Who's the One Piece sock puppet? She was friends with Monkey D. Luffy. March 7th Hare. Yeah, I had been thinking March 7th Hare for the whole thing. How's it going, Suki Wookie? What are you doing? I hope the new year has treated you well. I hope that your first week of the year of our Lord Haruhi Suzumiya 2024 has treated you well. We're reading a fun take on Alice in Wonderland, as you can probably tell. I can never forgive the Red Queen, but she went and up and died. Who let her get away like that so easily? You, who are the same entity as the Red Queen, I can't let you go. Don't you understand? Hatter, for the sake of my revenge, you have to die, Alice. She spun the hammer in her hands, her face devoid of mirth as she stepped closer to me, meeting my eyes with her mismatched pair. This is my justice, Alice. Goodbye, Alice. Goodbye. She raised the hammer in her hand above my head. Next New Year's, you will play every time. Are there any Tonka Truck video games? I don't even think there are. Like, if there's a Tonka Truck video game, I will at least look at it. And I will dedicate a stream to looking at Tonka Truck video games if those exist and I can play them in some manner. And you will have to be on stream as well. It's rather disturbing that the puppets say we were murdered the same way you end the stream. Yeah, right. Bye-bye. List of video game. Tonka fan. All right, we'll go look at this. This is going to play real well for the YouTube crowd, but oh God, there are like 16 of them. Tonka Search and Rescue, Tonka Construction, Tonka Garage, Tonka Workshop, Tonka Raceway, Tonka Construction 2, because that first one was such a banger. Tonka Raceway, Game Boy Color, Tonka Diggin' Rigs, Tonka Power Tools, Tonka Space Station, Tonka Monster Trucks, Tonka Search and Rescue 2, again, because that first one was such a banger. Tonka Construction Site, Tonka Rescue Patrol, Tonka Firefighter, Tonka On the Job. Goddamn, Zookie, we got so much shit to do. Our New Year's Eve for 2024 is planned. Me and Zookie, we're just gonna play Tonka games. You have On the Job? Oh my God, that's fantastic. All right. Why did she look like she was about to cry? Crack. Then I was falling. Falling. I was falling down this rabbit hole with no start nor end. I was falling. My skull and brain pieced itself together, twisting as if going back in time, I re-experienced the pain of having my head caved in with a hammer. I was going mad. A wetness, perhaps tears, perhaps brain matter rolled down my face as I tried to comprehend. I should have died. I felt as if I was remembering something very important. I landed in Wonderland once more. Alice? The first person to greet me was once more the White Rabbit. I grabbed my head only to find no injuries, no red. No longer able to differentiate between dream and reality, I questioned if I had merely been hallucinating the whole time. Then I was falling again. I died again. Alice. Each time I fell, I came back down. Alice! It became a hazy world, a distorted world, a world that was beginning to lose its colors. Time and time again, falling, I seemed to revert the hourglass and turn back the hands of the clock, each time going into another past. Before I knew it, the White Rabbit had changed. Your Majesty? She was a bit more polite. Your Majesty. Perhaps a bit more cruel in her eyes, but less restrained with the darkness in her gut. She called out to me each and every time. Your Majesty! The rabbit was my starting point, my saving point. Falling, I kept falling uncontrollably. Falling, landing, dying, falling. I no longer felt as if I had control of even my own body anymore. My world flickered on and off. It hurt. Dying hurt. I didn't want to deal with this anymore. Alice, you had to deal with this. I didn't want to. I really didn't want to. I didn't want to deal with this anymore. Again, I fell. I felt my body on the ground with hazy eyes. I saw a familiar figure in a head and heard it speak with a familiar voice as murmurs reached my ears from all around. Her face and her words, not a single thing I could make out. Before I even got the chance to see the rabbit, a growingly familiar sensation struck me. Pain, sharp agony burned in my arms till suddenly I could not feel my fingers. Then the same to my legs. Chop, chop. There they went, a limb or two or three or four. Off they went until suddenly I had none for myself. Soon a blade cut through my neck, sawing it as if stuck and stabbing again and again till the head finally came off, and I was falling again, drowning through the flesh, clogging my throat. As it all reattached, I came to a realization. Oh, I understood. Alice, what had you understood? I was done. I'd certainly gone mad. I couldn't handle this anymore. Even if I still wanted to go home, it wouldn't do me any good anyhow. Maybe this was a dream, an illusion. Just how long was I supposed to keep falling? Alice, you would never awaken from this dream. Then I was falling again. I decided to stop thinking and only keep falling. Ah, we got a CG, nice. Oh shit. Tick, tick tock. Tick tock, tick tock. I opened my eyes to a courtroom with an air of fear. Watching, I was simply watching through another's eyes, sitting on the back of her head without a single meaningful thing in my mind. I was watching. Who be that behind us? Who be that, I wonder? That's the rabbit. Your Majesty. The body moved without me thinking to do anything. I no longer cared to do anything. The body talked without me thinking to say anything. I no longer cared to say anything. It didn't matter. If I could have, I would have stopped watching. It was not because the sights were horrific, but because I no longer wanted to deal with anything and everything, not even the matters of the Red Queen. A dog, a cat, a bird, a girl, a boy, a person who was neither a mother, a father, an elderly. One by one, they came to be judged. Some begged, some cried, some fought, some silently accepted their fates. You wish you had bunny ears? You could live the dream. Get you some bunny. I'll buy you some bunny ears if you want bunny ears. Got a wish list somewhere? There you go. What's your throne? What's your throne link? I'll buy you some bunny ears. One by one they came to be judged. Some begged, some cried, some fought, some silently accepted their fates. The rabbit read out their accursed crimes for show, allowing the Red Queen to proceed. However, there existed only one result: guilty. At some point, she began to laugh. At some point, I began to laugh. Oh Lord, we big laughing now. As ruler, I have sovereignty over my citizens and at the same time a responsibility to make this kingdom prosper. A prosperous kingdom must have law and order. Do understand. Off to the gallows! Be glad for mercy, criminal. Glory to Her Majesty for her benevolence. Cards! Bring the next one in for Her Majesty. The accursed was reported by her brother-in-law for engaging in gossip and planning treason against the crown by speaking ill of Her Majesty. A simple sentence, a simple beheading for this bird. Bring her away. Cards! The accursed was caught evading taxes. She was also seen stealing from upright citizens, assaulting merchants, and spreading rumors about Your Majesty's state of mind. She was only apprehended recently as the cards were unable to capture her previously. Break her legs! Your Majesty is truly brilliant. As for her sentence, cut off her arms so that she can't commit crimes any longer when she reaches the afterlife, and throw her into prison to wait execution by skinning. What will a cat rug look like without arms? A criminal's skin is much too rough for a good rug. Ooh, shit! We know who that is. That's Cheshire Cat. Off with the cat! She seemed to think for a moment and snapped her fingers, rending the cat's arms from her body in an instant. And execute the cards who failed to catch her before. We have no need for worthless cards. Next! Next! The Red Queen didn't know if she was happy. While she convicted the accureds, I inadvertently began to lose track of my surroundings, only to be jolted back by a particularly interesting sentence. The accursed. Before the rabbit finished speaking, the accursed rushed at the Red Queen. The Red Queen gestured with her hand. An unseen power slammed the criminal down to the ground, creating a crack in the marble flooring of the courtroom. Presumptuous! The force tore fingertip-sized meat piece by piece from the criminal, leaving it writhing on the floor as it rolled around trying to get her to stop. Have you forgotten who you belonged to? The Red Queen finished once the criminal was ripped into a pile of red pulp on the ground to be swept away by the cards. I was smiling. The Red Queen was smiling. Next! The day in court continued until the courtroom was devoid of life. She worked on paperwork after court. Between stacks, she conversed with ministers who would sweat nervously each time she met their beady eyes. Finishing up her important documents, she proceeded to go for a brisk walk. She proceeded to go for a brisk walk and practice swinging a sword here and there. Bringing the Red Queen a towel and a water, the rabbit asked if she wanted to visit the White Queen today, which the Red Queen decided against. Dinner time arrived soon enough. She sat in a large dining room at the head of a long table, all alone. A sumptuous meal was served with red wine before her, but she had no one to share it with. The food tasted all right. More importantly, it had been poisoned. The chef used just a little too much so that the meat began to lose its charm and turn to mediocrity. The Red Queen called the chef over. His eyes darted around the room wildly, knowing that he had nowhere to escape. His legs shook and he fell to his knees, beginning to beg. The Red Queen took a sword from a decorative suit of armor in the room. Off with his head for daring to poison the queen! Watching as the servants cleaned away the chef's remains, she returned to her meal, which had been quickly replaced. She drank a sip of wine, poisoned wine. The next day, she returned to the courtroom. One by one, the numbers diminished again. Even those in the jury were not spared if they made the slightest slight. The rabbit smiled with glee, writing down the names of criminals who were to be executed. Not a few times she took the job herself, an axe in hand and boots squelching in blood. The Red Queen enjoyed her judgment court. Wonderland was her domain, and its people her pieces. If they became disobedient, then she would never let them throw her possessions into disarray. Some days she didn't go, working on governance. Other days she did, working on her world's peace. These times continued until one day the Red Queen fell asleep, when I was still awake. Curling my fingers, I discovered I was in control. I walked over to the balcony, seeing the ground terribly far away. I lifted myself over the balustrade? I've never seen that word in my life. I lifted myself over the balustrade and threw myself off! Air rushed past my face. Splat! Falling, falling, falling. I was falling again, back through time. The interstice between the different times and different worlds was still incomprehensible as before. My body knitted together from its mangled form and returned to Wonderland. Falling, I fell straight onto a table. Bam! I had returned to an iteration of the Hatter's place. Sprawled out on the table, I glanced upward and saw that familiar pair of mismatched eyes. Unfamiliar. Do I know you? No, not quite. Could you get off the table? I do need to put down the tea and snacks at some point, if you understand. The Hatter seemed different, as if a heavy weight had yet to settle on her shoulders. I got off the table and stood awkwardly around the familiar, unfamiliar place. The Hatter set down her teapot. She was preparing a tea party of sorts, causing me to realize that I had never seen her do setup, as things were always already on the table. What's your name? Alice. I'm Alice. You should be Hatter. Mm-hmm. Is there somewhere you need to go so badly that you nearly broke my table? No, I've nowhere. Why? Why don't you take a seat? No one uses that armchair over there. Much too armchair, they say. You know how armchairs are, right? I hesitantly approached my armchair. The chair looked newer than in my before. When I sat on it, I sank into the soft cushions. Even though it reminded me of a hammer through my skull, the chair did nothing wrong. It's a good chair. It's a good, innocent chair. I clutched my chest. You aren't having tea. What time is it? This person hated me. Perhaps she did not hate me yet in this moment that we were meeting now, but she hated me all the same in the future, in my present. I shouldn't have cared, but my heart hurt. The clock says 15 minutes before 4. It's almost tea time. Maybe it already is. I'm waiting for March and Dormouse, so it's surely not yet tea time. Tea time, after all, is just a state of mind. I see. You look sad, Alice. Do I? I raised my hand to my face, touching my cheek. I certainly was not smiling. What's your favorite tea? She retrieved a tea set to place on the table, bringing out 3 cups but 4. 1 cup and a saucer was put before me. I enjoy black tea. Recently, I've grown fond of Earl Grey. What about you, Hatter? I like any tea, but I also rather like Earl Grey. I'm not sure why it's an Earl rather than a Count or a Duke, but I'm sure the tea tastes best an Earl. I've heard that it's named after a minister. Or perhaps the minister was named after a tea. Fancy that. Your name is Grey, so Her Majesty tells you that you become Earl Grey. The Hatter looked happier. I like a happier Hatter. A film of water built up over my vision, turning it blurry. I must have gotten something in my eyes. A hiccup bubbled in my throat. The water wouldn't stop. Why are you crying? Tears rolled down my cheeks as I hurriedly tried to wipe them away with my hands. I really cannot explain. This is so odd. Eat cake. Do you like cake? Would you rather a sandwich or maybe something salty? If you're lacking in salt and sugar, you'll go a little crazy like that. She poured me a cup of tea and passed me some cake with a set of utensils she was just getting out. It tastes good. Drinking the tea and eating the cake, I noticed a much more amateurish flavor than my Hatter, the future Hatter. However, it tasted good, and maybe it tasted happier. My shoulders shook up and down for a while. I cried for the longest time I had cried since I was a toddler, rubbing my eyes pink. Once my tears stopped, I cleared my throat and averted my eyes from the Hatter. Compliments to you, Hatter. Why, thank you. We sat together in a peaceful silence for a while afterward before she turned her head and exclaimed, There they are! Yeah, look, they're actual really little cute little bunny. We got Banui. We got a cute little Banui and a cute little mousy mouse. They're adorable. They're the best. A sleepy little mouse in a hare with a straw hat approached from the forest path. They looked just like the little puppets my Hatter wore, often on her hands. Looking at me in curiosity, they took their seats at the table. A guest? Looks like a pest. Don't be rude, March. 3's already a crowd. No room, no room. 3's a crowd, but 4's a party. If we get 5, then, well, we can think about that later. Don't make a girl cry, March. This is Alice. This is March Hare. And this is Dormouse. Hatter poured some tea for both of them, and they began to chat, glancing toward me and tugging me into a conversation, even as their ramblings devolved into nonsense. Halfway through each topic, the Dormouse seemed to snooze off and dip her little nose into her tea by accident. Oh my god, that's so fucking cute! Jesus Christ, stop it! Did Hatter make you cry, Alice? She's a lady killer, she is. I've always known it! Dormouse, wake up for the gossip! I'm right here, March. She looks like Butter. It's the yellow hair. Butter! She looks a little silly, like her brain's been all churned up. But she looks like Butter. I couldn't help but crack a slight smile at their antics. More sunny, more buttery. Do you want butter, Alice? No, thank you. I'm quite all right. That aside, psst, 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 Alice. The March Hare and Dormouse pulled me to the side for a private conversation. Hatter seems to fancy you. Not so directly. Don't raise your voice. Dormouse, shh. That's usually my line, March. You don't own lines now, can you? March is right that Hatter looks fondly upon you. You do seem nice. Kind of dumb. She seems nice. I still approve. I'm just saying, all right? Be kind to Hatter. Be good to our Hatter. I want to be good to Hatter. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. I feel like we're about to explode or something because we did go through that whole thing where it was just like we were living as the queen. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is just expository to kind of catch us up on like what happened, but now we're directly in the past. But whatever. It sounds like we're about to get on really well with Hatter, so I'm okay with that. We can't be around her forever, so you have to promise this. Alice, I have a feeling that this is very important. Swear it on a stick of holy butter. I won't be here for very long, but no, I'll promise it. I swear on everything that could ever be precious to me that I'll treat her well if we meet again. And she's back to bed. Dormouse! We returned to the Hatter. The four of us continued chatting over tea. I enjoyed tea time today, I really did, yet I didn't belong here, and I didn't deserve here either. I knew that my presence would just throw everything into disarray. Finishing my tea, I stopped the Hatter from refilling my cup. I had a wonderful time today. I have to leave. This place isn't mine, but thank you for the tea again, Hatter. And you too, March, Dormouse. It was nice meeting you, Alice. I already knew you from the future, but I was also happy to see you, Hatter. Hatter, it was a shame that my Hatter didn't feel the same way. Alice, what did you feel for the Hatter? Something precious. See you later. I wanted her to be happy. Giving her a weak wave, I left the happier Hatter. I didn't particularly have a place to go. Home? That was no longer my goal. Walking away, I wiped away tears that welled up again. Eventually, I was falling again. I died. That much I understood. However, I seemed to have forgotten how I died this time. In a way, I knew that I couldn't keep doing this. Off Wiener Sane! Like, I'm not gonna make myself sound like a goddamn idiot saying language of shit that that I don't know how to read. I'm not gonna do it. I know how to say it in my head, but if I say it out loud, it'll sound bad, so I'm not gonna do it. Alice, this was your last iteration. The power letting you keep falling had already run out. The next time, you wouldn't come back to Wonderland in any time. As my body pieced itself back into place, I waited for myself to stop falling. I burst back into my relative present and hit the ground softly. Laying back flat on the ground, I grasped at the grass below me and cut my fingers on their blades. Above me, the sky was terribly blue. No matter who I was, the world would move on without me. However, people could not so simply move on, be it a matter of hate, or a matter of love, or just a matter of apathy. The connections people had were difficult to sever. Before I realized it, a certain person had settled into my heart. I want to see Hatter. My Hatter. Alice, you really are no good. No, it's better to say that I really am no good. I had already fallen for that Mad Hatter. She wormed her way into my heart unintentionally as she threw me on a wild duck chase for the Red Queen's dismembered parts in her revenge. I wondered how she felt now that she had her goal fulfilled. The final look on her face that I saw before I died was painful. It was painful not because of the crushing of my skull, but because of the constriction of my heart as I looked at her. A strange girl, a lonely girl, ultimately a terribly kind girl who was stumbling along a bloody path. That was who the Hatter was. I'm sorry. I pushed myself up. Useless Alice had a want. Not one of obligation, not one of what should be, because really, had I really wanted to go home? Not one that tutors or anyone forced upon her. I went to find the Hatter. I started walking. I started running. There she was, all by her lonesome. The bags under her eyes had not lightened at all, and she listlessly played with the rim of a teacup until she suddenly saw me. Why? She harshly stood up. Why did you come back? Why can't you just disappear? Grabbing a plate off the table, ignoring the pastry atop it, she chucked it at me. Smash! The plate brushed me and the plate brushed me and shattered on the ground, leaving a mangled lump of sweets and porcelain. Alice! Alice! She slammed the table, originally forcing her hands down with great momentum before suddenly slowing down as she smacked it. Wincing, the Hatter let out a pained, guttural noise. Why are you like this? I hate you, Alice! She clutched her chest and glared at me with murky, watery eyes. Why are you like this? I had no answer. You're contradictorily cruel and kind. You're messed up, Alice. Just choose one thing to be, you heartless woman. I like you, but I also hate you. I also liked her. I loved her. You're a useless freeloader who just comes to bother me, a waste of space. You're Alice, who always accompanies me and extends a hand to me. You're the Red Queen, monster, killer. I hate you. Why couldn't you have just properly died? I killed you. You're the same thing as the Red Queen. You shouldn't have come back. She picked up a red teacup and threw it at me, smashing me right in the forehead. I stumbled back. Hot tea spilled down me, mixing with the blood that came from a simple flesh wound. The cup itself shattered into tiny pieces on the ground. Go away! She grabbed the bloody hammer off the table and flung it, missing me by a far margin. It whooshed through the air, spinning and lodged itself deeply into a tree behind me. My blood was still on the metal face. Tell me who you're supposed to be. I am Alice. I am Alice. The Red Queen and I are one and the same, but I am Alice. Her essence is intertwined with mine, but I am me and am me alone. I'm scared of the idea that we could become the same. I never want to become someone like her, an empty heart, an empty life. Even as she lashes out to the rest of the world, she's still empty. Admittedly, I'm also no good. I'm a heartless person who hurts others as well, but I hold just two certainties. I am Alice. Alice is me. And for the I who am Alice, you are the person who took my heart. Is it okay to say that I'm Alice? I nervously fiddled with my fingers behind my back, looking at the Hatter as my heart raced. I couldn't read her expression behind those mismatched eyes. She wiped her eyes with her sleeves, opening her mouth time and time again. She seemed to have trouble finding her words. I like the Alice who is Alice. The Red Queen scares me, but if you would let me believe it, I want to believe that you are Alice. Ever since March and Dormouse left, time has stopped at tea time like a curse. I'm tired of tea. Is my life just for revenge on the Red Queen? She looked up at the sky as if lost. The Red Queen is dead. Deliberately mouthing the words slowly again, she seemed to convince herself of that reality. Then she looked back toward me. Alice. You are Alice. Her voice grew small and she gazed downward to her feet. I hurt you. I know. I extended a hand toward her, she who was all alone, she who stood so close yet so far away. I wanted for her to take my hand. We were both problem children. Perhaps I was a little mad. She slowly walked before me, looking at my hand as if seeing something foreign. Lifting her arm up, she reached out her hand shakingly. Her fingers trembled and hovered over my hands. For a moment, she retracted her hand. Then, she placed her hand in mine. I love you, Hatter. Alice. She stared at me, trying to ascertain the truth of my words. With a deep, shaky breath, she gave me her response. I love you too. Would you accompany me for a dance, give me a kiss, and make me happy? She asked of me just 3 things. I can't make you happy. I wish that I could fulfill all 3 of her requests, a physical item or a physical deed. Those I could easily accomplish, but one of the heart, I knew not if I could. I don't know if we can make each other happy, but I placed a kiss upon her lips. That's fine. Even if I have no ability to promise such things, I want to let you be happy. You are my dearest, precious person. I want you to be happy, Alice. That makes me happy. Not just like this. More so. Oh my God, it's so good! They are so cute! Oh my God, I'm fucking dying over here. That's so fucking adorable. Oh my God. I took her hand and we danced upon the table, spinning about, our feet tangled with the tablecloth and tea set strewn about. Hatter, if the world were to end tomorrow, what would you do? I have nothing left here for me, Alice, so I suppose I would do nothing. You're still right here with me, aren't you? She was so light. I wish I could show you my world. It's not a particularly spectacular world. Rather, it's utterly unfantastical. Yet there are things I liked. Maybe my siblings are better, the 2 cats, if you care for cats at all. I would have liked that. I pulled her along, leading the mad dance. With no music, we moved to the erratic tempo of our hearts together. Alice, why did you fall in love with me? Maybe it was just fate. Maybe it was just luck. Meeting you time and time again here, I grew fonder and fonder of you. At first, I simply thought you were lonely, but eventually, I fell in love with your heart. Love. I've never known about love before. I'm not sure if I can truly explain why my heart beats as it does for you, Hatter. Even that aside, you're cute. You can cook and sew and brew a good tea. You're warm. You're actually rather kind. What about you to me? I should ask you the same instead. Happiness. Probably we had no such fate, but we wished for it. Finally, we fell. Falling, falling, falling. We were falling down this rabbit hole with no start nor end. We were falling together. We knew not where we would fall, for there were no more wonderlands for us to fall to. That world that we fell from had been the very last iteration. I embraced the Hatter and closed my eyes. How warm she was, the person who I treasured. I only asked for a world where we could be happy together. Surely we would meet again in a land much more wonderful than this. Somewhere, sometime, surely. That was cute as fuck, my guy. If I had to guess, I'm pretty sure there's more to this. Because we got literally nothing about the White Queen. We know nothing about her. So what I will probably do is do a little visual novel research. And then either tomorrow or Sunday. Okay, Alice ending. Okay. I need to seriously make some tea next day free with an actual tea time, but yeah, it leaves questions unanswered. Yeah, the White Queen was the White the White Queen was a White Queen, as Polly might say. Yeah, we've only seen 62% of the script. So, yeah. There's gonna be more of this. We got extra, though. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Okay, sprites, cut-ins, CGs. Okay, there's like 3 more CGs. Okay, yeah, there's definitely another ending. There's like, we're obviously going to be chasing the White Queen, I have to think. Because this leaves some questions and everything, so... yeah, so I'm going to do some research and see, like, what we can do. Hatter's so good. I love her. I love her to bits. She's such a good girl. All right, an ending. Oh, shit! There's dead ends, which are game overs. Okay. Okay, so it looks like there's 3 main endings? And then there's 6 dead ends. Okay. So, I'm not too worried about dead ends. Those will probably just happen because we're going to make wrong choice. But I'm not going to go out of my way to get these. But I'm going to do some looking up on what these 2 endings are. And I'm thinking maybe like Hatter and White Queen, maybe. But I think that the Alice ending really kind of qualifies as the Hatter ending. That felt more like a Hatter ending to me, personally, anyway. So yeah, I guess there's more Who is the Red Queen in our future, if folks are into that. That'll either be tomorrow or Sunday. I'm thinking maybe it'll be Sunday though. Because I've done 3 streams in a row, and I usually kind of like to chill a little bit. So I think we'll probably be back Sunday. Does anybody have a time preference for Sunday? Because I know if people are invested, I usually like to try and give them a chance to be here. So if anybody's got time preferences, now is the time to speak it in chat and let me know. Sunday is a fun day for you again? I'm going to look up and see who's streaming while you people decide if there is a time that might work for you on Sunday. Yeah, we're just going to go back to Dr. Doobie again. We're going to go hang on back there to our good pal. We're Alright. We're going to go raid. You got no time preference? Alright. So we'll probably start around 7 or 8 p.m. on Sunday then. I may go like an hour early because it looks like we've got 2 endings to do, and I may try to see like if it's possible we may be able to bang them both out. So yeah, maybe like 7 p.m. on Sunday. Let's try that. But yeah, we're gonna go raid our good pal Dr. Doobie, who's playing Disco Elysium, which he looks like he's having a lot of fun. So yeah, we're gonna go do that. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. We will see you Sunday. Y'all have a nice weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.